When I first went through, one of these cost me $60.
I would have spent $40 for them, and if I show them that plan, you'd probably put that. They are.
Is that the spring?
Oh, is it?
Don't stop riding that hot
That's the scoop I like. Yeah. There's only one. See, the trouble is that comes with the bonnet.
It's Friday night, boy, I'm feeling fine. She meets me with a kind of kiss would set the woods on fire. And behind the door, the flames climb high. I got it, good woman's love, yes I am. She's a modern style of lady.
Yeah, he says you're shut up.
Side of it looks good, eh? All open.
Oh, work.
Are we going to come here again next year?
We certainly are. Won't we find out tonight when we go to the cheap brothel? Just kidding, Mum. You sure you want me to do your shoes, Mario?
That's all right. Just do me tyres.
I'm going to talk just a little bit about how the Charger came to be, for those that have not read the account in the book that Curry Bridger and his cohort, the Australian fellow, that's now, I think he's still in England, Gavin Farmer, were insightful enough to put this book together, and they cooperated to make it all happen. And they brought, I think, the best pieces of their knowledge together to really fill out this book. And I would recommend anyone that doesn't have the book, if they really are a Charger enthusiast, to consider very strongly purchasing one. In 1970, or actually in 1969, I was a young designer, kind of like a senior designer, in the international group at the design office in Highland Park, Michigan, which was Chrysler's international circuit specific design studio. There were probably 5 of us in there, as far as designers on the board. And we got some photographs of the present, I guess it would be the VG sedan and the coupe. And there was a request from David Brown, who was the managing director, to put together a car that could be used as a race car. And so we did some preliminary sketches of what we could do to adapt that car to make a viable race car. A couple of the sketches that were done for that are in the book. Now, I'm not, making a big thing about it, but I just want to build a little bit of history for you. A little while later, at the very end of the year in 1969, there was a meeting in Australia and offshore, I think, in Hawaii, among some of the Chrysler Australia people, that they decided finally that since this VH, which is the first project I really worked on after I joined Chrysler, they did not have a car that would be viable as what they would call a price-sensitive car. In other words, it was undercut everything else in the line. And they said, what can we do to make a good, exciting car that we can call a price leader below anything else that was in the VH and CH line? So we did some sketches just before the Christmas holidays, and then right through the month of January. And we did some, we had no clay model. We did some clay, or some line drawings of what the clay model could become from full-size drawings of the car. Basically what we did was we used the front clip, or what you call the front end of the VH, and the door from the two-door coupe, which was the CH coupe, basically the long two-door door. And they said, well, if we shorten this thing, what we need to do? So we cut 10 inches out of it and put together a series of tape drawings that reflected different profiles that we could achieve with this formula. And then we were also challenged to use every existing part we could possibly use to cut the cost further to be able to build this car. We finally came up with the two tape drawings, and that we thought were very, very viable. There were actually four, but there were two we were really pinning our hopes on. And they sent myself and our top modeling supervisor, Len Clemick, at the end of January of 1970 to Chrysler Australia. And it began a very interesting 2.5 months of what I consider one of the most exciting times of my life. I say that unreservedly because I found that the people at Chrysler Australia were the most wonderful people to work with. They were all enthused. They they bent over backwards to help me and gave me every possible break as far as anything I needed to achieve what I did. They came with the suggestions and ideas, and I can go on and on about all those. A lot of those are in the book, so I won't belabor that. But at the end of, actually the middle of March, we had a finished clay model which had a new roof, a new profile to the side glass, all new rear end, and the car was shown to upper management. Their board of directors, there were 7 on the board, and David Brown was the managing director. And the big joke was if David Brown liked it, he had 7 votes automatically. And the car was approved, and about a week later I got on the plane, flew back to Detroit, and we had a couple of little things we had to talk about with with the people that did the die making about how to achieve certain things. But anyway, I would say that that was a really successful venture on the part of Chrysler Australia Limited. About September of 1971, I was sent back again with another modeler to do some revisions, and also actually it was the VJ front end to the car. They felt that the rectangular headlights were not performing as well as they hoped, and they wanted to look at some round headlights. That kind of set the impetus for this trip, and I had to do 3 different grills, and that's a long story. Anyway, when I came back, I was picked up at a hotel early in the morning, the day after I flew in, and I was still kind of groggy from the trip. And one person, the head engineer, said, "We're going to take you out to see something that I think you'll find interesting." We drove out to Oran Park, and there was Leo Geoghegan and Doug Shivas driving the Chargers around the track and giving the Fords a heck of a battle with a 3-speed box and leaking the original mount alloy wheels and a propensity for leaking. And I think they came up with some kind of a coating on the inside to keep that from happening. But that was pretty exciting for a guy like me to see the car come that fast into production, because usually it takes 3.5 years. And anyway, that's about all I'm going to say right now. But it's been an exciting time being part of this from way back 35 years ago. And I echo what Leo said, that it is a testimony to all you here that are so enthused about the car that kept it alive. It's amazing to me to see that kind of enthusiasm and such a wonderful array of beautiful cars. And anyway, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this again.
I know that Bob, if you mentioned to many of the people in the room, his name's Leo Geoghegan. Leo Geoghegan drove racing cars for 20 odd years, started in 1953, drove Lotuses for quite a number of years, was Australian GT champion in 1960, and then joined the Chrysler Corporation, as Bob said, and really put the Chargers on the map. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome Mr. Leo Geoghegan.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely to see you here. My compliments once again to the incredible effort that the Albury Car Club put on. This is Australia. I'm glad that each year you can find a motel room for me, and that's all the incentive I need. I'm down here. And I think this is my 5th time, yeah, and it's great. Enjoy it more every year. So well done, guys. We'll be having a question and answer session later, so I won't belabor the point too much. I noticed Ernie came along a little sort of as I was fading out of the scene. Ernie came along, but having listened to him, what he had to say tonight, I think we would have got on like a house on fire. I think our thinking was pretty similar, Leo. And anyhow, it didn't happen. I was sort of phasing out as Leo started off, but I've read about what he was doing in V8 automatics. And I know one time someone suggested that I might like to go over and drive one of those cars, a V8 automatic round Pulpicari, and I said, look, that weekend I'm terribly busy. And they said, what about next weekend? I said, even busier. And if I had known that Chrysler company was so short a day, I would have loaned them enough money to put some decent brakes on the front. Because as soon as I saw that car, I said, guys, this is a good car, but they said, can it win Bathurst? I said, no. I said, why not? I said, the front brakes aren't big enough. They said, we want it to be an all Aussie effort. I said, that's lovely, and I admire you, but we won't win. And I said, what can we do? I said, you can buy 200 sets of rotors and 4-spot calipers, and by lunchtime we'll be that far ahead of the field we'll be able to stop for lunch. Now, we've got everything else in that car except the brakes. Obviously the budget man said we've run out of money, but I'm sure my brother and I could have scratched up enough to buy 200 brakes. And then Dougie and I wouldn't have had to work our arse off to make up for the fact that we just had to give away 5 seconds a lap at Bathurst to make the brakes live all day. But it was a very exciting time for me because I had a program going. I was running in the Tasman series and running against the Jim Clarks and the Graham Hills of this world, and doing some open wheel racing in New Zealand. But in this country, as we know, our Formula One is touring cars. My love is open. Real racing cars shouldn't have mud cars. But now, so you need to have a touring car in your team. We had a couple of open wheels, a touring car and a sports car. And my brother, being a bit big, got the job of driving the touring car and did a pretty good job. Anybody who might remember it, won something like 150 races out of 160. In fact, our first Mustang had only its first failure after winning 60 races in a row. That Pooka carrier broke a fan belt. But we were glad because we knew we had to lose a race soon. And we said, well, we can now relax. But now getting back to the Charger thing, an old friend came along and he said, hey, the Valiant company's struggling a bit. I said, I'm in the motor trade, I can see that. He said, we're going to do something about it. You want to join in? I said, well, I'll have a look. What are you doing? So they had the Slant 6 Pacer they trotted out, which was the demo car for the journos to drive and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's a nice car. We'll take it to Catalina Park at Katoomba and give it a run. So you got to go. Series production racing was just becoming popular. So I hopped in the works car and went the journos car. Drove up to Catalina Park and I took off in practice. I did about 3/4 of the lap and the left-hand front wheel left me. So I thought, this isn't a real good stuff. So there's a little tip too, if anybody's out there, never ever knowingly buy a car that's been used by the journos to test it. Because they set out to kill it. Anyhow, I said, Ryan, this doesn't look much good to me. It's as slow as a wet week. He said, well, bear with us, there's something better down the road. I said, okay, well, I've got a bit of spare time. I'll go along with you. So I went across to Adelaide and they said, started talking about dollars and that's always nice when you're motor racing, because what the thing that motor racing does, it eats up time and money in about equal proportions. You need plenty of both. So I said, okay, we'll give it a go. The 4-barrel Hemi was, the 2-barrel Hemi was coming along and it was a bit better car and it handled okay and it was semi-competitive. And Brian said, there's something even better coming along. I said, oh, that's good. So I was finally let into the Charger secret and I went down into the den where these guys worked and saw the clay model. And I thought, gee, that looks nice. I already knew the engine was coming along. And I said, you guys are on the right direction with this. And they said, what do we need? I said, well, you need to get the brakes on the front. What else do you want? I don't want anything else. Give me bigger brakes. And that's, it didn't happen, as we all know. And we didn't win Bathurst as I said we would, but it was a hell of an effort. And having driven for Ford for many years prior to that, our budget and our workload was, we weren't paid cash for the Ford motor racing. So what the guys did in the background was fantastic. And actually this weekend I brought over some special posters I had made to give to the guys in the background that I didn't always see. I didn't meet this guy last year, and he's been beeping away for 20 years out the back. I've got some special certificates made out to give them, because it was a fantastic effort for a small company with a small budget. The thing that made it happen, apart from the fact that these guys were all so good at what they were doing, is that I related to David Brown every night. I didn't have to go through the chain of political departments. We'd sometimes get back from Malala at 9 o'clock at night. We would have been out there at daylight that morning. We were just going round and round and round and round, making sure we couldn't break anything else on the car except the brakes. And I would ring David and say, this is what we did today, this worked well, that worked well, that didn't work well. And he'd say, well, righto, we'll change that. So you go home, back to work, and we'll give you a ring when we've done it. So I was commuting between Sydney and Adelaide, and one time I went over and I thought I was only going to be there for maybe a day and a half, so I didn't take much in the way of clothing. And being in the car business, and in those days you could inexpensively park your car at an airport. So what we would do when we were going away motor racing, we'd just leave it, take an old car out of the yard, some old cleaner that we traded, and leave it at the airport. If someone wanted to pinch it, we were pretty glad. So this time I went over there expecting to go over, but just for the sake of an old cleaner. Left the keys on top of the left-hand front tyre in case they needed it back at the yard, they could come and get it. If you ever want to pinch a car dealer's car, you look at the top of the wheel, inside the exhaust pipe, or under the mat, and you're up and away. Anyhow, I ended up being away for about 7 days, and a pretty heavy 7 days, and I came back and I had forgotten which bloody car I'd driven to the airport. So it's about 10:30 at night, and I'm walking up and down looking for something familiar, until I finally saw this old clunker, and there she was. Unfortunately, nobody had nicked it. But things went better and better, and when we got the 4-speed car, it enabled me to win some sprint races, because we often put the 3-speed car on the front row of the grid, but we'd get a couple of hoes and a couple of drums knock you off into the first corner, which was a bit of a pain. But even with the 4-speed box at Bathurst, once we got off the line, we only used 3rd and 4th, because the engine was so torquey. This is getting a bit too serious. He got into these New Zealand jokes ahead of us. Now, how many bloody armed Kiwis are there out there? How many? What do you got? You got tomatoes or anything like that? No. I'll be kind. I'll just have one, seeing as how Leo started, I'll just have one. You might wonder why the New Zealand rugby union team are not allowed to bring their wives to Australia when they play the tests. It's because they jump over the fence and eat the grass. Leo started that. I only met him today, and as I say, if we are like-minded, I think we would have had a ball if we had been both racing at the same time. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing some interesting, challenging questions down there, and we'll try and answer them for you. And enjoy the rest of the weekend, and remember I've got the Winton Circuit hired for Monday, so if you can stay over and have a day at Winton, that really finishes off the week for me, the weekend of the year. So I hope to see you down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. My friend Pinky at the back there. Pinky is there. What we'll do with the question and answer, please.
Yeah, mate, when they were going to release the 340s, did they ever test any with the 6-pack motors and manual gearboxes? And was any ever going to come out with a cold air intake, like the scoops in America?
I don't know if any of the guys up here were involved in that at that stage, so I don't think anyone here could probably answer that. Yeah, Bob might know a little bit about it. He'll try and answer your question to the best of his ability.
That's a tricky one.
We were at one point hoping that 340 would happen. But if I could just reflect back on history, I'm glad it didn't. Because the engine was too heavy. But they did have a bunch of them down at Lonsdale. They were going to fit into some cars to try. And for some reason, I think it was the cost and the fact that by the time they were getting ready to use them, what I was told by a fellow named Bob Burke, who was here a couple of years back, a friend of mine that worked on that, and he said that there was a conflict between upper management and the development team, and they were butting heads about it, and the money thing was a big problem, and the fact that Chrysler was trying to get out of the power thing with the supercars and the muscle car thing. They were trying to downplay that, and they felt that that would be a kick in the teeth of the management that were trying to downplay it to all of a sudden, man, we got this 340 we're going to put in. So that's about all I know about it, and I'm sure that Roger's heard similar things or something close to that.
Yeah, Bob's right. At that stage, I think when we went to Bathurst, the reason we didn't run a V8 or anything else was the main management idea was that this was going to be an all-Australian produced racing car, everything Australian, therefore we couldn't put an American V8 in it. It had to be the 6, and this attitude was carried on through the racing years. When the 340 came along, that's exactly what Bob said. They wanted to maintain the all-Aussie image and play down the muscle car. The cost of oil was going through the roof and people were getting scared about V8s, and I'm sure management was a bit worried that suddenly if the V8 should take off and we invested money in it, suddenly everybody didn't want it anymore because it was too expensive to run. So they just decided to carry on with the 6, and sadly the 340 didn't make it. We had a couple of Keith Black 340s that we brought out to try. We put them in a short ute, the short ute that we used to develop the Charger. Had a bit of fun around Malala racetrack with it, and decided it was definitely a Bathurst winner without any doubt. And we're all in the development team. We're all very disappointed it didn't go ahead because it really put a lot of enthusiasm through the whole place. But management overruled, so it never happened. As far as 6-pack versions go, we never even looked at the idea of a 6-pack version like the old 440 6-pack. That engine would have been way out of the realm. That would have been way too heavy. The 340, as light as it is, was certainly a heavy engine, but it would have been a cracker. If we'd put a 4-speed manual behind that and gone to Bathurst, Ford and GM wouldn't have done a look in. But it wasn't all Australian made, so it didn't go ahead, sadly enough. I don't know what happened to those 2 Keith Black 340s, but they're somewhere in the country.
Your team's on the ground, so I'm just getting a couple of funny about that.
57, 56. That's just a split in the seat.
When I built the car 10 years ago, fuel's gone up so much more. So I know you've got 600 miles. Not bad.